And the conflict between Ukraine and Russia has been going on for a long time and has many fronts, and it's not just military.
That's right, Iqbal. The religious schism between the Moscow and Kyiv patriarchs of the Orthodox Church and the struggle over the use of the Russian or Ukrainian language are two important battlegrounds in this conflict. John Spear narrates this report by Ricardo Marquina in Kiev.
The bells call the faithful to Mass at the Cathedral of St. Vladimir in Kiev. In a country under military threat from Russia, all spheres of life are marked by the conflict with Moscow, including spiritual life. This is the central cathedral of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, under the authority of Patriarch Filaret. The church in 2018 separated from the Moscow Patriarchate as a result of the tension generated by the earlier Russian annexation of Crimea and the war in eastern Ukraine. As leaders of the Kiev Patriarchate see it, the Moscow-controlled church is a fifth column or subversive element of the Kremlin.
Unfortunately, there are often elements in politics in the church. If we are saying that the Ukrainian Orthodox Church of Kiev Patriarchy is the church of the Ukrainian people, it's always with the words and deeds that stand in support of the Ukrainian people and Ukrainian independence. At the same time, in the Ukrainian Church of Russian Patriarchy, there are elements and prayers for the Russian world, Russian interests.
But the Ukrainian Orthodox Church under the Moscow Patriarchate is predominant in the country, which is home to great historic centers of the Orthodox faith, such as the Kiev Monastery of the Caves. Representatives of the Moscow Patriarchate say the division within the Orthodox Church is artificial, and they deny that they are promoting the interests of the Kremlin in Ukraine.
All this informational noise is harming our country. If we are authentic patriots, true, not feigned, we should help calm down the situation. We here support our government and our president, who calls for calm.
The language has also become a part of a battle cry between Moscow and Kiev, but also among the Ukrainians themselves. Ukrainian politicians appear to be united in making Ukrainian the only official language of the state.
The proposition of Holos Party is that we have one national language, one official language is Ukrainian. And as for the rest, we know that everybody could speak the language that they want to. We understand that for decades, Russian language was instilled in Ukraine because we were part of the Soviet Union. And right now we need to give our language, the Ukrainian language, as much support as we can.
For critics of the Ukrainian government's language policies, such as Ivan Stepurin, a publisher of books in Russian, the politicization of the language is counterproductive for the country. He and others reject new measures which they say make it increasingly difficult to publish in Russian.
It is very difficult for a person who has read Russian all his life to suddenly switch to Ukrainian. But especially in Ukraine, there are wonderful writers who write in Russian and who believe that Russian is a part of the Ukrainian culture, like the rest of the languages in our multinational homeland.
The armed conflict is also a political, religious and cultural conflict, a break both physical and spiritual between Russia and Ukraine that, depending on the outcome, may be decisive.